you ever get those moments in life where you see something with open eyes for the first time? Your brain kind of explodes. I mentioned in my last video the first time I saw the TV series The Wire. It really opened my eyes to what the drug war is all about. I've had various different things in life that have done the same thing. When I first started getting into politics, I watched some of Russell Brand's early videos on YouTube where he just used to review the papers each day, and that opened my eyes. I was like, wow, you don't actually have to believe every single thing you read in the newspaper. The editors of these newspapers have an agenda, and it blew my mind. I've had other instances with David Attenborough documentaries about the environment where your mind's blown. And I've just had one of those experiences in the van. I'm going back and forth from Eastbourne today. I've just listened to a very long 3-hour podcast, and it's absolutely blown my mind. It's a Joe Rogan podcast. His guest was a young girl called Yeonmi Park. She's an escapee from North Korea, defector, whatever you call it. She escaped from North Korea, and this podcast has absolutely blown my mind. I couldn't recommend it highly enough to go watch it. She also has her own YouTube channel. She's also done interviews with Jordan Peterson and other people. This truck's going to come out right in front of me here, isn't it? Yeah, okay, let's slow down. But yeah, I've absolutely had my mind blown by this podcast. We all know the horrors of North Korea. We all know that it's an absolutely insane regime. But in a way, I think we just accept it. We just accept it, and I don't know why. I've just listened to this podcast, and I've listened to this girl's life story, and it has absolutely blown my mind. I won't go into the nitty detail of everything. Like I say, I really recommend that you go check out the podcast for yourself. But some of the things she talked about, just basically living in a constant state of starvation, constantly a daily occurrence, seeing dead bodies on the street, the things that they have to eat, flowers, grasshoppers, rats are a delicacy if they manage to catch one and find it and eat it. It's absolutely horrific, the life that this poor girl has had to lead. And it just astounds me, because this is no different to the Nazi regime of the early 1940s and the Holocaust. It's absolutely no different. I mean, once we actually dive into it and really see the full horrors, I'm sure that it'll be worse. It's absolutely horrific. And why do we allow this to happen in this day and age? If the Holocaust was going on right now in Europe, as it did in the 1940s, there's no way we would stand for this. But yet, we do, with North Korea. And it is just as horrific, and just as many people are dying. Another example I missed is she talked about the labour camps over there, and the fact that they need these labour camps, they need slave labour, and not enough people are committing crimes, as they say, so that they will get their people no matter what. They'll do midnight raids on houses, and everyone has to have a portrait of Kim Jong-un in their living room, and if there is one speck of dust on that portrait, you're being sent to a labour camp. I mean, this is disgusting. Like I say, we all know the horrors of North Korea, but just really listening to this poor girl's story of what she's lived through is just such an eye-opener for me. And I'm a realist. I understand the politics of North Korea. I mean, in my mind, I think we've left it far too late now. They're a nuclear power. I know that a military option is just not possible. As soon as a military option starts, they're sending a nuke over to Seoul in South Korea or Japan, and millions of people are going to die. I know that a military option is not possible. But what is possible is China. Now, this is why I just find the regime of China absolutely disgusting. There's a lot of arguments out there that people say that the American regime is far more disgusting than the Chinese one, but I can't deal with that. China allow the existence of North Korea. They fund North Korea. They allow them to exist. China could stop this disgusting regime overnight by not funding it anymore. They allow this to happen, and it's absolutely disgusting. And the reason they do is because it's a buffer state between China and South Korea, where American troops are, right? They don't want Korea reunifying, because then they've got American troops on their border. Is this really justifiable for why North Korea exists? I'm sure there's another solution for this. Even if they can have like miles of no man's land between the border of Korea and China, I don't care, but this has to stop. And I wasn't going to do a video, but I just listened to this podcast, and it blew my mind. I had to talk about it. I'd love to know if anyone else has listened to this podcast or is familiar with Yeonmi Park. She has a book out. Like I say, she has her own YouTube. I'm going to put as many links down below as possible. I'd love to hear your thoughts on North Korea. How can we justify this disgusting, brutal regime in 2021? Give me your thoughts as always. Take care.